Greetings, Nick with Sweetwater here, and today we're going to be taking a quick look and listen to a stomp box that's caused quite a stir in the electric guitar domain, the Boss IR-2 amp and cabinet pedal. This nifty little device right in front of me here. Now, there's already a bunch of YouTube videos out there on the IR-2, and they're all quite rightly singing its praises. Simply put, in my humble opinion, given its size, price, simplicity, features and sound, the Boss IR-2 is one of those pedals you never knew you had to have until you saw and heard the sucker. In a nutshell, the IR-2 is the smaller, simpler, more affordable little brother of the impressive Boss IR-200. To that end, unlike its bigger brother, the IR-2 doesn't have a screen or menus to dive into. It just has 6 control knobs plus a Nigel Tufnell approved 11-way amp type selector switch. And each of those 11 amp types comes paired with a sonically complementary Celestion Cab IR. More about that in a minute. To be precise, the 6 controls appear as 3 dual concentric knobs. The outer 3 are the usual suspects with regards tone, namely bass, middle and treble, and the inner 3 are for gain, level and ambience. As the ambience control's name suggests, the IR-2 indeed has built-in reverb should you wish to add some to your sound. Furthermore, you can select from 3 different types: room, hall or plate. And how to select these is all explained in the unit's handy-dandy manual, this one right here. The manual also contains descriptions of the 11 amp models and also the sonically complementary Celestion cabinet IRs the pedal comes loaded with. The IR-2 boasts 2-foot switchable channels, green and red. To set them up couldn't be simpler. I mean, I can do it. Let's select the green channel. Having done that, I'm going to select an amp type and then dial it in for a rhythm sound. I'm going to select high gain and then quickly dial it in. Right, let's see what I've got. Yep, I like that. That done, to save it, I merely switch the pedal to the red channel like this. That done, the IR-2 automatically remembers the amp type and also the 6 control settings I've just dialed in on my green channel. So every time I go back to it, regardless of what I do now, that's what I'll get, until I change it, of course. And, surprise, surprise, the exact same MO applies to the red channel. So, let's set that up for lead, shall we? Yep, I like that. So to save it, guess what I do? Yep, I switch back to green. Now, doing that recalls the rhythm sound I just set up. And then going back to red selects the lead sound I just set up. So now, hey presto, all of a sudden I've got a green channel that's my rhythm and a red that's my lead. And like I said, those settings will remain stored until I decide to change either or both of them. The IR-2 has an input and 2 outputs marked A, in brackets or parentheses mono, and B. It also has a channel select input for an optional external pedal should you wish to use one instead of the pedal itself to switch channels. It also features a nifty effects loop with send and return jacks. And the return can be easily reconfigured for use with a stereo cable should you wish to use stereo effects in the loop. And that's obviously where the IR-2's output B comes into play. Make sense? As you'd expect, the pedal's effects loop sits before the cabinet section, just like on a regular amp. The IR-2 also plays well with other pedals in front of it, as you've already heard. Here's the modded amp setting with the Boss chorus ensemble and overdrive in front of it, plus a Boss delay in the effects loop, and they're all switched on. very cool thing about the effects loop is this. Because it's before the cabinet IR, when you're playing live, you can use the effects send output to feed your onstage amp, while output A goes straight to front of house. This means a non-IR signal goes to your amp, while an IR signal goes to the PA. Make sense? Like it. As already mentioned at least once, each one of the IR-2's amp types comes paired with a complementary Celestion cabinet IR right out of the box. That said, if you want, you can load your own IRs via the dedicated IR loader app and the unit's USB port. Incidentally, the IR-2 has 11 IR slots total, which is more than enough for me. I mean, I hate decision paralysis. 11's enough! Oh yeah, and talking of the IR-2's USB port, it also acts as a USB audio interface for recording. Just remember to use a USB cable that supports USB 2.0 and not merely a USB charging cable. The latter won't work because it can't transmit data. As also explained in the manual, you can also use the unit's amps without the IRs or just the IRs by themselves. And as already mentioned, detailed descriptions of both the 11 amp types and also the preloaded Celestion IRs each one is paired with can be found in the manual so you know exactly what you're dealing with. For example, here is my trusty JHS Angry Charlie JCM 800 in a box pedal with the IR-2 delivering the Celestion IR of a vintage 30 loaded 4x12. A perfect combination. Let's check it out. The IR-2's output jacks are factory set for line level. That said, if you're running your IR-2 through an amp's input or effects loop return jack, you can set the output of your IR-2 for a bunch of different amp types, from a katana to a tube amp, including 1x12, 2x12, and 4x12 speaker options. Once again, this is pretty simple to do and is all explained very well and clearly in the IR-2's manual. And that's pretty much it for features, but there are two others I should mention because they're really cool. Firstly, the IR-2 has a mini headphone output jack, which is great for silent practice. And secondly, the pedal can work with a regular 9-volt battery. And that's all the pedal's features covered. So now let's take a quick listen to all 11 amp and cabinet offerings the IR-2 comes loaded with. And so you can hear the tonal differences between the amp types, I'm not really going to tweak any of the IR-2's tone controls or the ambience knob when I switch between the amp types. I'm just going to tweak the gain and maybe the level a hair too, and that's it. Also, I'm going to change this guitar and then stay on the guitar I changed to, so it's an even playing field, if you will. That said, at the very end I will bring a guitar in with active pickups on one of the high gain options so you can hear what the pedal sounds like with an active pickup. Have it, my friend, a quick overview of the features and some of the many sounds that lurk within the Boss IR-2. As already mentioned, thanks to its size, features and price, this guitarist-friendly pedal is destined to become a bestseller in my humble opinion. Now, will the IR-2 replace a much more expensive modeling device or an all-tube Marshall, Messer or Soldano stack or half stack? Of course not, but that's not its intention anyway. That said, for home recording, social media posts, podcasts, practicing, writing and also gigging, it's an extremely valid and practical option. It's really easy to use and sounds good, darn good in fact. To me, it's a great backup to have at hand should something go horribly wrong with your backline at a gig, for example. And once again, you really can't argue with the price tag it's got. And it also fits in your pocket, which is perfect. Great for practice. Anyway, as always, if you've got any questions about the IR-2 pedal or any other Boss product for that matter, please go to sweetwater.com or better still, contact your oh-so-friendly sales engineer. That said, thanks for watching. I'm going to quickly play out and then I'm taking this sucker, putting it in my pocket and leaving. Goodbye.